Good morning, beautiful people. Lovely Monday morning. Headed to Warner Robins on this back road. It's pretty much where I always record for the most part because there's no really good signal. Enough signal to probably make a phone call or something, but not enough to really watch any videos or stream music without it having to buffer 5 million times. But no, I have submitted all of my papers and everything for my finals, except for this weekend. I'm going to take the final for my advanced pathophysiology class. And if I remember right, basically, as long as I make a 51 on this final, I have pretty much passed the class. Which, don't get me wrong, I have no intentions of just trying to pass. I want to do better than that, but it is always good to be in that kind of position where you're like, oh, I can make XYZ thing and still pass, and just set yourself up for failure, or set yourself up for success. Sorry. You know, setting yourself up for failure would be kind of delaying or postponing things that you know need to be done, or like at the beginning of a semester turning in a bunch of crap work, and then at the end you got to try to break it up. Usually I try to do the opposite of that. I try to basically put my best work in the beginning, and then I kind of get to ride that out. But usually by the end of it, I can basically not even turn stuff in and still pass, or I can kind of make a 50 on a final and still be good. But for instance, like the other two classes, I mean, I could have just not even turned in a final, and I still would have passed the class. So it was basically like hey, show up, do the work, and you're pretty much guaranteed at this point, which is a good feeling. So, let's see, that's that, and then on the 24th, we'll be going right into my next semester. So I've kind of already ordered my books for that. I got to do informatics, medical informatics. What's the other one? Advanced pharmacological, and there's one more. What is the other one? I do not remember the other one. Off the top of my head, honestly, at this point. But either way, there's basically three. And for the life of me, I cannot think of what that third one is right now. But turn in my final, take my final, whatever, basically by Sunday, the 21st. And on the 24th, which is like, I think, let's see, Thursday, I'll be right into my next classes. So, running right into it. And use the last bit of my GI Bill for this semester. So these next semesters coming up, I did take out some student loans for just, I've kind of put money aside little by little, but I don't want to put it being the primary income source for my household. I was like, let me just go ahead and take out these student loans, finish the degree out. That way I know it's paid for. Worst case scenario, I don't worst case scenario, I have to actually use those funds to pay for school and all the things, which most likely I will. And best case scenario is, I do really good with my job, really good with the real estate, and I don't have to use any of those funds. And I can just basically pay it back as I'm going along. But either way, I just wanted to be in a position where I knew the college was paid for, whether it be with student loans or not. And I know there's a lot of hot takes and debates and everything with student loans, and especially now that everybody's got to start paying them again. But my thought process on student loans is not as bad as some of the other people. I don't believe that you necessarily need them for like an associate's degree, technical college, or bachelor's degree, maybe even. So, for instance, here in Georgia, you have the Hope Scholarship, which I don't know the exact numbers, but basically it'll help with your tuition and cost all the way up to a bachelor's degree, as long as you have like a 3.0 GPA or something like that. Basically, as long as you keep your GPA up, you can keep getting Hope all the way until you finish a bachelor's degree, or you max out the credit hours, which if you know what you're going to be going for, you should be able to get the bachelor's degree with it. Then on top of that, you got the Pell Grant, which is a federal one. Some people don't qualify for Pell, I get that. But if you qualify for Pell and you qualify for Hope Scholarship, between the two of them, I mean, you're pretty much covered for like an associate's or bachelor's degree, as long as you're going to like your local community college for it. So the issue that a lot of people have is they want to go to these big colleges for like associates and bachelor's degree in basket weaving, essentially, and then they take out all this student loan to afford it, and then they get a useless degree because ain't nobody hiring professional basket weavers right now. But if you do need to take out a student loan or something, you should be looking at, okay, what is it that I'm going to make when I get this job, or like when I'm in the workforce. So the way I look at it is, my student loan should definitely not be more than half. This is my blueprint. So my student loan should not equal more than half of what I would make on an annual salary. So easy numbers for this is, if after I get the degree and I start working and I'm making $100K a year, doing that kind of math, to me, I say, okay, I can understand getting up to $50,000 in student loans because I'm about to make $100,000. So to me, those numbers are good. And then obviously, the less you are on the loan category, the better the numbers even look. Now, if you start creeping above that 50% of your annual salary in student loans, that's when I start questioning, like, hey, is this really something you need to pursue? Is this something maybe that you need to figure out something else? Like, if this is your passion, you really want to do it, like, okay, well, maybe I need to go and look for some more grants and scholarships and stuff like that. Because, you start getting into a mountain of debt. Like, let's say, I'm not going to name any names, but I know a couple people that's got over $100,000 in student loan debt for like dual bachelor's with a master's degree. got like $100K in student debt, and then right now they're working at like, I think they're working like insurance, one of them is, and then the other one's working like in sales, like at a car lot. So it's like they got these dual bachelor's, masters. One of them has 2 masters, and they're doing jobs that are completely unrelated to their degree because they realize, hey, this job that I spent all this money and time on the education side, it's not enough to pay the bills. I got to go do this other thing now. And to me, I think you should follow your dreams to a degree. You know, my generation, our parents told us, go to college, follow your dreams, go to college, get educated, get a degree, get a good job. It's not for everybody. Follow your dreams, yada yada yada. And now, fast forward to today's climate, we're looking back and we're all in this mountain of student loan debt because we took that advice and we did it. Which, granted, like our parents, grandparents, advisors, growing up, they didn't mean to do something harmful for us. It's just the fact that their generation, that was the answer. Because the people that were successful in the 80s and 90s were the people that went and got education, and they're the ones that got the good jobs a lot of times in the 80s and 90s. Fast forward to 2010, 2020, like where we are now, it's a little different now. It's like there's so many people with associates and bachelor's degrees that it doesn't even matter, because it's almost like oh yeah, they got an associate's. Like it's not even looked at as a badge of honor in a lot of things. For instance, like right now, tradesmen or trade women, if you're in that, but tradesmen are killing it right now. Like my brother-in-law's an electrician, hasn't gotten any 2 or 4 year degree. I have a bachelor's degree and he makes pretty much just as much as I do. You got welders making $35, $50 an hour, sometimes even more, depending if they're willing to travel or not. You got, electricians, HVAC, plumbers, roofers, carpenters. You got all these trades, concrete. No, I wouldn't recommend concrete. I mean, that's some tough work. But you got all these trades that are paying, $30, $50 an hour, roundabout. Obviously, you're not going to start at $30, $50 an hour, but you can get there very easily depending on what you're willing to do and where you're willing to go, and even more for certain like specialties in those trades. But you got these trades that are paying this, and then you got people that are getting 2 and 4 year degrees that are getting paid $18, $20 an hour. And like I said before, I mean, if that's your passion, yeah, whatever, is my standpoint now. Because I'm like, for me, for instance, like my passion has changed so much as I've aged. Like the things I want to do now is not the same things I wanted to do 10 years ago or when I graduated high school. Like, for instance, when I graduated high school, I just wanted to get away from the environment I was in and go to the Army and, do that. Like, that's it. That's all I cared about. Within basically 2 years of being in the Army, I realized, man, I want to get out, use my GI Bill, go to college, and maybe get like my nursing or my PA or my MD or something along those lines. As I'm getting ready to go to med school, I quickly realized, man, I don't want to go to med school. I don't want to go $400,000 in debt and not even know my wife and kids because I never get to spend time with them. So I switched from that and just stayed as a bachelor's level nurse with a bunch of basically pre-med recs. And then now, again, I'm like wanting to be home more. I'm not wanting to have to do the travel nursing to make the money that I make. So now I'm going back and doing the family nurse practitioner. So to me, it's like my scope has changed a lot. But one thing that I will say is, you know, the family shift. Like now, I'm not the same guy I was when I was in my early 20s. You know, early 20s, I was just trying to have some fun on the weekends and stuff like that. Now I'm 32. And now I'm like all about the family life, like spending time with my wife and kids and stuff like that. And I will say, there's not much. I can't think of a job that I would want to do other than spending time with the wife and kids. Like, I'm not saying I want to be stuck up their butt 24/7 either, but at the same time, it's like, I don't get it. Like, there's not a job that I would that would give me that same fulfillment, is what I'm trying to say. Like, being with the wife and kids and doing things with them, like, comparing that to my job, no. I mean, if I didn't have bills to pay, give me the spending time with the wife and kids all day, every day. And that's the thing is, you know, you want to get in my opinion, we've had a shift in the education and what we do. Now, to me, I believe that it's more important to figure out a way to make a really good income that supports you and your lifestyle and your family or future family. You know, find a career that's going to do that you somewhat like or can tolerate, and then, you know, do that. I mean, as crappy as that may seem to some people, because it's not telling you to chase your dreams, and I'm not saying you can't chase your dreams and maybe do a little bit of your dreams on the side till it comes to fruition. But if your dream is to be the best basket weaver in the world, for instance, but you got a wife and 2 kids at home and they're relying on you to come pay the bills and everything else, I'm sorry to tell you, my friend, but you should probably be doing something else that's going to pay the bills and take care of your family, or else that's going to mess with your mental psyche more than anything. Like I don't think I could come home to my wife and kids and, you know, they're turning out the lights and my kids are sitting there going, I'm hungry, and there's no food in the house because I'm wanting to be a the greatest basket weaver in the world. I just, I can't do that. Like, I can't envision that in my mind. Like, I'd be like, okay, well, it's time for me to go, flip some burgers or stock some shelves or something, or go to the fields and start working and putting food on the table. And, it might work you out and everything like that, but once you have a family and you have that shift to that family dynamic, it just changes all that for you and makes it where you don't care about all the other stuff as much, and you realize that. And then also, like, for retirement, I mean, if you can live below your means, like, the more income you make, and if it's tolerable for you, that's good. So, for instance, let's say you're making $100,000 and your bills, I'm counting everything like food, water, electricity, mortgage, yada yada yada, is $60,000, and you're making $100,000. You have $40,000 a year of discretionary income at that point. Meaning, you got $40,000 to kind of play around with. So then you take that $40,000, and let's say you don't have no debt. Now all of a sudden you start putting money aside for retirement. You start putting money in a Roth IRA, like an individual retirement account. You start maxing out 401ks. You start, putting money for your kids' college or technical trade school fund, which is I think it's like $529 if I remember correctly off the top of my head. You're over here helping your wife fulfill her dream of having her own business and supporting her in a way. Or maybe, you're over here doing your dream now because you got this extra $40,000 to buy the equipment to be that champion basket weaver on the weekends. You're doing all these things to set yourself up for success. And then once you start doing that, like once you got that $40,000, you can buy all the equipment and everything else that you need for that championship basket weaving. And maybe you go back to school at that point on the weekends, or, well, if you can do like online school, or maybe you're working the weekends and doing school like Monday through Thursday to get that degree, but now you're paying cash because you have the income and you've saved the money. Then when you finish it, it's like, oh, look now, I have this great job and I'm the champion basket weaver with a master's in basket weaving, and I got the best of both worlds. It might have took me a little bit longer, but now I still got my end goal. It took me a little bit longer. I was able to support my family, fund my retirement. So now when I turn, 59 and a half, I can start pulling from this Roth IRA, and I don't have to worry about retirement. So now I'm retiring at like 59 and a half, and I'm doing whatever the heck I want because I don't have to work. So, I mean, when you start doing things like that, it's just a whole different ball game. But all that to say, I'll be at about roughly 40 to 40. I think it's right at 40 to 50,000. I won't say 50. I think it's like 40 and some change, but I'm just going to round it up to 50. So let's say I'm going to be 50,000 in student loan debt by the time I finish, because I already got a little bit that I took out when I was young and dumb, and I'm still paying for it. So $50,000 is what we'll say, and then the income I would make is more than double that. So, I mean, I've checked those boxes on my matrix, so to speak. I mean, just look at the national average for a nurse practitioner, and then you can look up specialties from there and stuff like that. You can figure out how much the numbers are. But also, for us, we're probably going to sell the house that we're in currently and move to a different area once I finish. And once we sell our house, the proceeds from selling our house, money-wise, will be enough to wipe out those student loan debts. So whenever I graduate, we sell the house, we'll go back down to zero, but with a nurse practitioner salary. So I should be able to quickly get back on my feet and readjust and get things moving, so to speak. But with all that said, y'all have a great and wonderful day. I'll finish this drive, listen to some tunes, and try not to work too hard on this Monday.